Michael is a talented but wayward actor who is facing problems in his career. His reputation is so ruined that no one wants to work with him anymore. Michael's agent George patiently tries to find him a job, but all to no avail. No one is ready to hire Michael because he is too demanding on the set, questioning directors, and constantly arguing with them. Eventually Michael is offered to work as a waiter at a party to earn some money. But he doesn't give up despite his despair. One day his friend Sandy informs him about an audition for a role in a popular soap opera. However, it becomes clear to Michael that the role is for a woman. Despite this, he decides to take a risk and makes the bold decision to transform himself into a woman in order to get the part. Michael carefully considers his image. He transforms into Dorothy Michaels, a strong and confident woman. He goes to the audition and surprises everyone with his charisma and energy. He manages to get the role of Emily, the main character of the series. From the very beginning, Dorothy begins to attract attention with her independence and unconventional approach to the role. She immediately comes into conflict with the director, who tries to make her play the scene stereotypically and weakly. But Dorothy insists on her vision of the character and creates a strong, determined woman who does not allow herself to be controlled by men. This approach is admired by the audience, and soon Dorothy becomes an audience favorite. Michael finds himself drawn into the world of soap operas, and his life begins to change. Michael gets used to his new role in life as Dorothy. However, the longer he plays the role, the more it begins to affect his own perception of himself and those around him. He learns through experience what it means to be a woman in a world where women face constant pressure and discrimination. Through Dorothy, Michael begins to realize how unfairly the world treats women, especially in the professional world. He sees how on the movie set men are constantly trying to control and humiliate women. This begins to irritate him, and he increasingly gets into arguments with his colleagues, especially with the director. But his independence and strength attracts the attention of Julie, one of the actresses on the show. Julie is a kind and sensitive woman who also suffers from stereotypes and pressure, both at work and in her personal life. She dreams of true love and a man who will understand and support her. Julie begins to communicate with Dorothy and shares her worries and doubts with her. Michael, being in Dorothy's character, begins to have feelings for Julie, but cannot admit to her who he really is. Their friendship grows and Michael becomes more and more confused about his feelings. He realizes that Julie sees him as a friend, not a man, and this hurts him. Meanwhile, Michael as Dorothy becomes a real star. His confidence and independence inspire many women, and the series gains popularity. However, Dorothy's fame also brings Michael new problems. One of his colleagues on the show, John, begins to show a romantic interest in Dorothy. He invites her to dinners and tries to woo her. Michael finds himself in a quandary, not knowing how to refuse without exposing himself. John persistently tries to woo Dorothy, which causes Michael a tremendous amount of awkward situations. In one scene on set, John tries to kiss Dorothy, and Michael barely manages to avoid it. Meanwhile, Julie is in a relationship with a man named Ron who is basically using her and disrespecting her. Michael as Dorothy tries to support Julie by advising her not to put up with this attitude. In one scene, Julie confesses to Dorothy that she dreams of a man who will genuinely care for and love her. Michael listens to her confession and it breaks his heart because he realizes that he can never be with her as long as he hides under Dorothy's mask. Michael's internal conflict grows by the day. On one hand, he is enjoying Dorothy's success and how his character is affecting those around him. On the other hand, he finds it increasingly difficult to maintain this lie, especially in front of Julie. He wants to confess his feelings to her, but he is afraid of ruining their friendship and making her disgusted. Things get complicated when Julie's father, Les, begins to show interest in Dorothy. Les is a good-natured and somewhat naive man who is genuinely fascinated by Dorothy. He invites her to his house for dinner, and Michael is forced to accept the invitation. At dinner, Les proposes marriage to Dorothy, and Michael finds himself in an even more difficult situation. He realizes that he cannot continue this deception, but also does not know how to get out of this situation without hurting Les. The situation reaches a climax on the set of one of the scenes in the series. Michael decides that he can no longer live with the deception. During a live broadcast, he improvises and, acting as Dorothy, suddenly admits that he is actually a man. He takes off his wig and it becomes clear to everyone that Dorothy is Michael. This shocks everyone around him, but especially Julie, who feels betrayed. She leaves not knowing how she will now feel about the man she thought was her friend. Michael, exposed in front of everyone, is forced to quit his job. He realizes that his actions have hurt the people he cares about, especially Julie. However, his experience as Dorothy has changed his perception of life and women. He realizes that he has learned a lot and that he now sees the world from a different perspective. Michael tries to reconcile with Julie, but she doesn't want to see him at first. She feels cheated and betrayed because she trusted Dorothy as a friend, sharing her most personal thoughts and experiences with her. Michael explains to her that his feelings for her are real and that although he deceived her, he never meant to hurt her. He confesses his love for her, but Julie can't immediately forgive him. Michael meets Julie on the street. He approaches her and tells her that he is ready to start over if she will give him a chance. Julie smiles, but their future remains uncertain.